Hello everyone, welcome to a album reaction basically. Truth be told, I've never really listened to this artist. The artist we're talking about being Mac Miller. I've never really listened to Mac Miller before. I mean, you can honestly say this about a lot of artists, but this one's a little timely considering the album he dropped recently, which is a little late, but what can you do about it? The extent of my knowledge of Mac Miller back then was that he was featured on that Ariana Grande song, and he was in NBA 2K13. He was also labeled as those white rappers, which I don't know if does a disservice to. I'm not going to go too deep into it, but he was white and he did rap, so I don't know how big of a talking point that was back then, but I mean, I know I could say this about a ton of artists considering how out of the loop I was with music back in the day, but I wasn't active with Mac. I do remember hearing he passed away, and that was kind of like it was kind of big news, but I didn't really grasp it at the time because you know, let's just call it as it is. I don't know shit about music. I'm as casual as it can be. But as years have gone by since his passing, and I feel like his name has been kept alive way more considering all the posthumous releases he's had. God, I'm rambling. I'm so lost for words right now. So he dropped this latest album, which we are going to listen to soon, called Balloonerism, and I've heard a lot of good things about it. And I think this was the wake-up call to be like, screw it. Why don't you just start tapping on Mac Miller now? Of course, it's super late, but better late than never, I guess. But I feel like it wouldn't make all that much sense if I just listened to this album alone. I feel like this album just needs a little bit more background knowledge before just going into it fully, because maybe there could be some things I don't really fully grasp if I didn't at least get familiar with some of his music. In preparation to this reaction, which like I said might have taken a little longer than expected, but I did listen to some major albums from Mac. I did it all beforehand and off camera just because I don't know if I have time or the capacity to do that at the moment. I will say I did not react to every single Mac Miller album. There are a couple that I have not listened to yet, but for now I will show you what I have listened to and give my brief thoughts on it. I don't know how long this section is gonna be, so obviously I do have chapters in the description. You can check those out if you want to head straight to the Balloonerism reaction. But for now, I will talk about the albums I have listened to beforehand. Also, these albums aren't in chronological order, it's just in the order that I listened to them. So, starting off with Faces. And to show you how out of the loop I was with Mac Miller, I had no idea he did jazz rap. Should have interested me more, but hey, how I did not get into this sooner, beats me, man. Beats me. You know, it talks about the stuff Mac Miller has kind of been known doing with his addictions, mental health, etc. That that LeBron line and What Do You Do? Also, Therapy is a goddamn banger. I don't know why I don't have it saved, but that's and a guitar intro at the end. Like, okay, he's going a little out there on this thing. I mean, you can kind of see it. I mean, look at this album cover. I mean, he's been I don't know. I can't decipher this at the moment, but his album covers are kind of unusual. But yeah, Faces is it's a really good project. Abstract-ish hip-hop. An album that's very aware of life and death, mixed with a very brash fuck you attitude. That's just the kind of energy I'm getting from some of these songs. Watching movies with the sound off. There's a lot of very vintage choices with the production, and by vintage I mean like very old sounding instruments. But yeah, most of the positives I had about Faces apply to this one too. The Divine Feminine, god, that opening track is heavenly. Also, we're getting a little sexual on this one, which, you know, sounds about right. Speaking of sexual, is Ty Dolla $ign's vocals a little soft, or am I going deaf? But yeah, this album is the more melodic side of Mac, lustful and loving Mac. To those who like that side of Mac, I mean, it might be right up your alley. Also, Hello Kendrick Lamar and Mac's Granny. And as you can see, you know, swimming. I knew this was gonna be a good album once I heard that intro track. It's so beautiful. And what's the use? You know, another little snippet I knew about Mac was that Tiny Desk concert where, you know, he's with Thundercat. He's like, he's doing the most. And then Thundercat has that bass run on there. Love it, you can leave it. It's a very iconic Mac Miller video. It's nice finally knowing where the original song came from. Yeah, but shout out to Tiny Desk, Thundercat. That orchestral intro in 2009 Oh my god, that was also a very beautiful part. I mean, the whole track is beautiful, but that should be obvious. To keep it brief, this is another brutally honest album that puts his problems on full display. But I mean, how grim is it knowing what has happened and how optimistic this album seemed to be? Well, not all of it was optimistic, but there seemed to be some hopeful spots in this dark place. Overall, it's just really saddening considering, you know, this was the last album Mac released before he did pass away. I'm pretty sure he passed away like a month after this release, and yeah. Only 4 of his albums I've listened to. I feel like that's a good starting point to get familiar with Mac. I know it isn't every album of Mac, but I know Circles is a huge album. I did not listen to it yet. Maybe I could check it out for a video in the future. And I do know that Good AM does turn 10 this year. Just some things to keep in mind. But anyway, we can finally move into the Balloonerism album. That's my little spiel about Mac. As someone who has never been actively there for Mac Miller, and after hearing all the positive things, kind of makes me wish I was there earlier, but I just have a weird thing about posthumous releases, considering, you know, the whole Juice WRLD stuff, whatever the hell they're doing with XXX Tentacion. A posthumous artist can get really iffy. It's just something you never really know, and it's just something that's really been off-putting for me. That's just a whole another deep topic you can go about when it comes to death, and I don't know, maybe Mac might touch upon it unintentionally here on this album, but we shall see. But I have heard good things about this album, so I'm more than excited to record this reaction video for everyone here, and I'm excited to listen to more Mac Miller. God, swimming is so good. If I have a favorite right now, it'd probably be Faces or Swimming. I don't know if that's a basic pick for Mac elitists, but of course I'm going to run down the genius lore a bit. Mac Miller's second posthumous album, Balloonerism, is a previously unreleased project that he worked on during the development of his critically acclaimed mixtape Faces, in the midst of arguably the most experimental era of his career. The album was mostly created within a 2-week-long jam session in March 2014 that took place in Mac's Sanctuary studio. Although he ultimately shelved Balloonerism in favor of other releases, the project was of great importance to Mac. Balloonerism is characterized by its live instrumentation, jazzy influence, introspective lyrics, and deeply psychedelic atmosphere. Production on the album was primarily handled by Mac under his producer Larry Fisherman, although not without assistance from a core team of collaborators close to him at the time, Thundercat and Taylor Graves, both commonly credited throughout the album, and it was recorded in its entirety by Mac's engineer Josh Berg. Surfed online. Okay. Yeah, okay. I think that's enough for now. This one has material for more older stuff, because I know Circles was like around the swimming era, but this one's more towards the Faces era. So the timeline can get a little wanky. It shouldn't be too complex to understand, hopefully. Enough rambling, enough getting familiar. It's time to finally listen to the album. Balloonerism, Mac Miller, January 17th, 2025, 14 songs, almost an hour. Track number 1, Tambourine Dream. Yep. Sweet. Track 2, DJ's Organ Chord, featuring SZA.
F. D.
Man, does that droning organ sound, man?
I love when you smell like your car. Is you driving to me? Is it one nap? I know you missed the night time.
This feels like a very different cadence for SZA. Then again, I haven't listened to Control, so.
Cocaine is ruthless. I know the truth about.
Oh, Thundercat was on the intro?
Cocaine is ruthless.
Okay. Maybe well, the chorus. Oh? Yeah. Whoa, oh. That might transition into the next song, sorry. Yeah, wow, that was very, felt very out there. it does take me to that era of like Faces and almost watching movies too. Was made using the chord organ of lo-fi pioneer Daniel Johnston. Mac acquired the organ in November 2013 after becoming an executive producer of Johnston's biographical film Hi, How Are You, Daniel Johnston, when he donated $10,000 to the film's production. Around this time, upcoming singer-songwriters had just signed to Top Dog Entertainment and moved to LA, the home base of both Mac and TDE, likely meeting Mac through her label mates Schoolboy Q and Ab Soul, who were close friends of Mac. SZA says that he was the first person she met after moving to LA, and she would come over every day and record. Her verse for DJ's chord organ, dubbed by SZA as the song that changed everything in a since-deleted tweet, and her vocals for Friendly Hallucinations were recorded during this time. Production on SZA's 2014 project, Z, is partially credited to Mac's producer Elias Larry Fisherman, which was also likely done during these sessions. Maybe that's why SZA sounds a little different here, because it might literally be from 2014 and that era. It was like, okay. I forgot to mention this earlier, but I can kind of see why Miller would have a lot of features with like people like from Vince, Staples, and Earl Sweatshirt. Because a lot of these guys, they're all in that like conscious lyricism with their songs. With Mac being in LA, you know, it would make sense that he'd be with those types of dudes. And yeah, they kind of just fit all together, man. He's just had a lot of good collaborations. Pretty cool way to start the album. Track number 3, Do You Have a Destination? Let's get started, Mac. I can feel it. Vibrations. Oh, hello.
And I'ma come back an eagle. Go to hell. I gave my life to this shit. Already killed myself.
Oh.
Changed, but it changed on me.
Going.
Yeah. Okay, I went
Wow.
and I went for all this other shit is trivial.
To a miracle.
Be asleep in a couple minutes. My bitch knows I love my cereal.
I love cereal too, man.
Not so, need to let the drugs go. Trying to find heaven, I get high, but all the air is filled with gun smoke. A middle finger to the cyber gods, kill a god with an upload. Y'all go. Next, watch it go.
Do you have a destination? Are we going to transition into the next song? Oh no, not really, but okay. Wow. More honest, reflective Mac. Seems like he's having another what's the word? Fuck. I don't know. He's just showing off his he's just showcasing his troubles, man. It's pretty self-explanatory. Rich as fuck and miserable. He understood his drug problem and understood what he needed to do to make his life better, or whatever that means. Trying to find heaven, I get high but never come close. He struggles for finding meaning in life. This idea of heaven as a sacred holy land, and throughout all of his searching, he has not found anything that can resemble the idea of heaven. That idea. Can't Kill a God was an upload. Direct reference callback specifically to Faces era, where Mac follows the theme of uploading viruses to the network, taking over technology, living in a matrix, etc. Where the network is an unreleased cut from Faces. Keep in mind that balloonerism and Faces were recorded only weeks apart, making this network theme and set of lines still fresh in Mac's mind. A clear reason as to why he would reference this theme across both projects as an Easter egg to his fans. Yeah, so there is that. I feel like it sounds like there are sprinkles of unfinished business here, which I mean makes sense. This is a posthumous release. It's not like Mac had complete control over what's happening here, but considering the positive reception it's had, I want to assume that at least whoever is running Mac's estate has, I guess, a clear enough vision as to what Mac would have wanted and try to make the best of what. I don't know. This is why I just can never know with posthumous releases. Sometimes it can get really complex when it doesn't really have to be, but that's just my stupid way of thinking. Seems lost trying to find the destination. Let's see where we go from here. Next track, $5 pony rides. Okay, hold up. These chord progressions.
Take a video on him or something. Get away, girl, you wasting my time. And maybe later what you need. Your daddy should've got you that morning. Let me give you what you want. Every time I reminisce, I keep thinking it was better than out. Late, I wanna lay down. Life is like night.
Yeah.
Can I give you what you need?
Do it. Do it. Do it.
Can I give you what you want?
Yes.
Give you what you need. What you need? What do you need? I give you what you want. What you need?
Hey.
Whoa.
Hey. I need more of these bass lines, man. Another word I should have used for Mac is lo-fi. I am getting a lot of lo-fi elements here, but you know, so far, pretty good. So far, it's been pretty good. Oh, and we're back. And we're back. Never been more back. Oh. God. I fucking love this beat, though. Next track. Friendly Hallucination.
Can you hear the whispers of she ain't get to swimming or drown? Papa was an atheist, working on an own of Arcadia.
Okay.
I'm a slave to the baseline. Conversation topic got
That's a way to put it.
All I see is gray skies. There's came in for the answers, but she left with a habit. There's no one on the other. Does it feel?
Hello, SZA.
Does it feel like? Yeah.
Feels great.
Falling victim to a world that's filled with satire. Past, but it backfired. Hold on and be strong. What's the problem if you fall in love with fantasy? They assume she's confused with delusions.
Dude, Max penmanship, man. I don't know, but you're really good at imagery here. Whoa. Oh, it's still SZA. Sorry. I don't know why I thought this was Kali Uchis for a second. Don't let that hallucination get the best of you, cause that shit can send you over the edge real quick. Next track. Starting off so good so far. Mrs. Deborah Downer. Deborah? Deborah. Yeah.
Impossible.
True.
Together we unstoppable.
True.
Race to be a navigator. Down on scraps of paper. All roads lead to the same conclusions.
There you go.
Find the word prolific for me. Watching you, but no one is. A room full of rolled up $100 bills. The pills turn to powder, babe. To me and crush them down. On that motherfucker, say where the X is at. Now I wanna see, would you be my friend? Do I need to know the beginning to see the end? What's the difference? Do I chase that high? What you gonna do when the money coming slow?
We don't sell that here, ma'am. Unless that was Mrs. Deborah. Holy. All roads lead to the same confusion. I mean, all roads lead to the same conclusion. From a philosophical or existential perspective, everything in life tends to lead to the same questions, confusion, and in the end, the same conclusion. We can infer that the conclusions Mac is referring to in this song are that life has no meaning or goal. This is accepted but becomes a cycle of confusion and repeated conclusion. Mac's best friend in the song left once he got a real glimpse at just how bad Mac's addiction really was. Seeing a room full of rolled up $100 bills used for cocaine and other substances for the last time and growing uncomfortable with how deterring Mac's problem actually was for those in his environment. Act as a visualization and projection for Mac's drug problem and how it would sometimes push his family, his friends, or even potential partners away from him when he was using. 2013 and 2014, going even as far back as 2012, this was when Mac started experimenting heavily with drugs, explaining so across all his works from 2013 through 14 and how it affected him. Unfortunately, that would make some sense as to why this body of work would be so experimental. I guess it does play a part in how you perceive your art from said experiences. Mac addresses his drug problems in many videos, a couple including the Faders Stop Making Excuses documentary. Macmiller on new album Battling Depression plus Donald Trump, points from Good AM, but I haven't listened to it yet, so. We all did and become dust in the wind. Human powder, if you will. Nothing lasts forever. Holy fuck, why am I burping so much? Nothing lasts forever, even what makes you feel larger than life. The perception of life is that the more that time passes, the faster it goes. Yeah. In fact, it is said that half of your life happens at 25 years old, because from there is all too fast. And you'll wake up once wondering how did it all go by so fast. Thought that it would last longer. you know, as someone who is turning 23 this year, man, the years feel like they have been going by fast. But I feel like a lot of people have said that so far, and there's just so many times where it just keeps being true. Yeah, but this seems per the course of Mac during this time. Next track, Stoned.
What you gonna do? Yeah.
What am I gonna do? I'm gonna listen to this music. That's what I'm gonna do. Welcome back, guitar. This is the Faces era, man. Lighter flick.
She all that I need. She lost in her thoughts. She never been a groupie. With the music, she watched depressive movies. Her bed like she makes up her stories. She could feel me. She never felt nothing. Let me come in.
This pulsating beat.
Baby, let's get stronger. Can I play you one more song? Run from your shadow, can't hide from yourself. Do all the words get lost in translation?
And that little guitar line. Well, I guess he finally found his destination, even if it is through substances. One more song. Okay. Is that Mac? Is that Mac in that? Okay, Mac. Okay, Mac. He got a little bit of that range. Next track, track 8, Shangri-La. I played this before on Black Ops.
Don't be afraid to put your 2 cents in.
Oh, I'm a little afraid, but I will put my 2 cents in.
I'm always up for a bargain.
Thanks, Mac.
Dragons are flying south for the winter. They don't like cold weather either.
Damn.
Oh God, she was thinking Saint Laurent.
Okay.
Selling pussy on millionaires. Have last name was Rothschild. Life been a bitch ever since they let me tossed out, but don't sleep. The codeine came back.
I wish I could tell you, Mac. I don't fucking know. If I die, man. A lot of these lines are just so grim looking at it. In retrospect, man.
I'm getting ready to sign my life away, day to die.
I mean, like, come on.
Can't find my debit card.
That's not good.
I took a ticket to the seminar. Show me where all the old records. Shit, that bitch so unstable. How super is a supermodel?
How super is a supermodel, man? Oh, fucking hell, man. Mac released a cover of The House of the Rising Sun amidst the rollout for his mixtape Faces. Yeah, there's just so much. There's just so much I still don't know about Mac, even if I have listened to a lot of albums from him. Of course, there's always more to learn about a guy, but especially after all these fucking years. But hey, a lot of digging. Next track, Funny Papers.
Did no one ever teach you how to dance?
I don't know how to dance.
Nobody ever taught you how to dance?
Nope. Well, kinda.
Everyone knows how to dance.
Yeah, everyone does, but you know, not
There's only so
how.
much time.
True. There is only so much time.
He died on a Friday.
Okay.
Some angry banker took drunk driving down the highway and drove off the bridge. Still hear the trouble going. It's quiet, but the music. Recently, I only know her face is waiting on the other side. Naive for war and that'll screw you. Still bet it all on the glory. I rent by Tuesday. I bet I'll be rich. Couple constellations in a suitcase. Don't you love silence? Gave birth to a baby boy. I saw his picture in the funny paper, lips against his soft face. Watch him bring these bright eyes into this dark place. Swear to God, I never want to sin again. But I feel one for depression and 2 for your temper. Just pay my rent. Here come the icebreaker. It's danger when he's bringing gross life. Hate to see somebody fucking up their own life. Just roll the dice and put.
God, this piano, man. That might. God, this whole album is just actually, you know, we're not done yet, but man, this album has just been really good, and this might actually be my personal favorite track off the album so far. I don't know, it's just the way Max has been able to tell this stuff. It's just like, I don't know, it just felt like a little conversation with him. I don't know, it's like he's just talking to the listener, I guess me right now, and it's like, man, it just felt really real. the way it's conveyed, and it's just so, I don't know, it's just illustrated and in a way it's just so, like, I don't know, it just felt so impactful. There's so much stuff you see in the news. It's like you'll see something like a tragedy that happens in the news, and you'll see something like someone giving birth to a baby boy, even if it doesn't seem like it's all great considering how Mac might see the world at the time, but like it's still a very positive thing in comparison to, you know, someone dying, which is kind of ironic because it's literally an example of life and death. I'm glad he was able to find a somewhat positive example, because I mean there are news where it is positive stuff happening, but man, we live in such an age where the negative stuff gets way more than the positive stuff. It just gets really tiring, man. The way he puts funny papers is like, you know, how you'd see like those like comics on the side. Maybe that's what he means by funny papers. That's what I'm getting at, unless he just thinks the news is just so comical. Unless it's actually a term people use. Mac takes the negative and positive of what one might read in a newspaper, sometimes called funny papers, while reflecting similarly on his own emotions. The term funny papers gives a sense of simplicity that is reciprocated in the song. This sentiment comes full circle as Mac asks, "Why does it matter at all?" towards the end. Mac nods to the intrinsic truth that everything we deal with in life is temporary, while not everything will be simple. God. This one's just so good, man. Shit, I ain't an innovator, just a fucking illustrator, man. And I mean, you don't always have to be an innovator, man. If you make your mark, you make your mark. And, God, Mac has certainly done so. Oh, but that song was just so good, man. Alright, next track. Track 10. Excelsior? Excelsior? Sorry. Yeah.
4th Street, the orphan children play on the jungle gym. He becomes the alpha and picks on everybody. It's Julie round the sandbox. Player just waits till before the brainwash starts. Before they get polluted.
Oh.
Life is fantasy and somersaults, art imagination. Before there were rules.
Man.
Brussels sprouts and spinach.
Me, I used to want to be a wizard.
Fuck.
Apple juice and cartwheels.
Abracadabra. Barakadoos. Excelsior? That's how you say it? Excelsior. Genius says it's Latin for higher. Yeah, man, I miss the days when I could just fucking do jack shit at my house. I mean, I still kind of do, but obviously I gotta do adult shit. I gotta do taxes and whatnot. Fucking lame. But man, what a time. What a time. Next track, Transformations.
You know, he's a student of the game, and he has a
Okay, yeah, these vocals,
Yeah. Psychopathic thinker, hyperactive drinker, bitch like a bad fart.
All she do is linger.
okay. Okay.
Let me try that
Okay, maybe you wanna try that again, Mac?
Up with a thumb up like Henry Winkler. The bitch like a bad fart.
All she do is linger.
Okay.
Shit, y'all chillin'. You looking in my blinker.
Lean for the lows.
For the medium.
Oh.
The channel once they went into commercial. I love football and lesbians. Never deal with some lesbians.
Okay.
Save the drama for your mother. Oh Jesus, who's a rapper with the gold penis? Put away
Gold
your money
penis.
stuff. Get low.
Is Delusional Thomas supposed to be Mac still? Well, that was a pretty out there track. Genius? In Transformations, we get a live listen into the mind of Mac Miller in his legendary Sanctuary era, for which Mac was known to have not only honed his production skills as Larry Fisherman, but opened the door to other aliases such as Delusional Thomas, an alter ego of Mac's that he began developing into a character around 2012-13. Although not initially named by Mac, the high-pitched voice could be heard in Mac's sophomore album, Watching Movies with the Sound Off, symbolizing the voice inside of Mac's head. Initially conceptualizing the character as a devil on your shoulder type, Mac ultimately used this concept to turn the voice into a demonic, evil character named Delusional Thomas, who raps about darker, more expletive content that may not appeal to some Mac fans. Doubling down on this concept, Mac would go on to release his horrorcore mixtape Delusional Thomas on Halloween of 2013, using the pitched up moniker Mac can be heard fusing with Delusional Thomas on the tape's outro. Although Mac has mostly steered away from officially using the Delusional Thomas moniker by 2015, when he signed to his first major label and ultimately moved away from the Sanctuary, fans often debate whether his voice can still be heard in later works of his. Well, that was a large lore dump, but there you go. I mean, yeah, this does feel very out of the blue for what you kind of hear from Mac, but that's what happens when you have Delusional Thomas on your song, man. Alright, track 12. Manakins. Or manakins. You know, it's spelled differently. Whoa. A harp? A harp? What the hell? Oh, hello. Yeah?
My good days are exactly like the bad ones. Terrified of anything abnormal. Like the school bell, he gon' tell you when your time is up.
Okay.
Shit set up, work's gotta take me on a perfect day. Swear I saw him crying, only learn from change. Every time I think of her, my brain. Problems we can't. Terrorism so close to heroin. Yeah.
God, he is. Sounds like he's coming down from it.
He needs to dress the mannequin.
Oh man. Make some noise! Alright, second to last track, Rick's piano. Oh, hello.
Josh?
Hey, Josh.
Who's there? Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin's piano.
Okay.
Fucking around.
Yeah, time to lock in, boys.
Wake up, wake up. All of y'all
Grab
are
a little brush, a
still
little
bitches,
makeup.
but this
Okay.
in place of your makeup.
There you go.
Come. Yeah.
Yeah.
E.T.'s not dead, he's just a little bit faded. Please
Sweet.
don't get me to get worse once they think they the greatest. Is yet to come.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone except for you. I had
The best is yet to come.
Yeah. And if it do, will we ever get to sing along? Scared to put it on. She never let her
Is yet to come.
They fell into the ocean. Listen
Okay.
to their voices, forgive them for their ignorance, but fuck the future.
Is yet to come.
Okay. Yet to come. No fucking clue. Man. What the fuck? Man. Okay, before we get into the final track. Oh, yeah, the final track. There's actually a lot of lore here. Josh Berg, Mac's engineer who recorded the entirety of Balloonerism and can be heard in the song intro, spoke on Reddit about the creation of Rick's piano. Mac recorded himself on his phone at Rick Rubin's piano the first time he ever went over there while waiting for Rick to receive him. When he returned, we did a very rough chop of that recording, looped it out, and away we went. Dylan Reynolds sang the hook and Mac did verses, and then he added the ending in one stream of consciousness, layered it roughly, and it was done. In 2014, while in the midst of a darkening struggle with depression and substance abuse, Mac infamously spent time at Rick Rubin's iconic studio sanctuary Shangri-La after drunk dialing Rick while on a trip to Europe. Oh, is that where Shangri-La comes from? Rick Rubin's studio? And like the whatever. Mac told Grantland, I was like, Rick dude, I'm fucked up. Will you help me? So I went and kicked it with him for the summer in Malibu and got clean. I just go to Rick's house every day and just sit and play the keyboard. Mac references his time with Rick Rubin throughout his 2014 projects Balloonerism and Faces. not only naming songs Shangri-La and Malibu after the location of Rubin's sanctuary, Mac raps on grand finale, self-medicate, self-education. Rick Rubin showed me transcendental meditation. In an episode of the 2019 docuseries Shangri-La, it was revealed that Rubin went on to assist Mac in the production of Swimming, his final body of work during his lifetime. Wow. There's just there's just so much here. And I mean, God, this whole ending section, what does death feel like? Why does death steal life? Why does death steal light? It's like, Mac has always been very conscious, aware, curious. That's another word. Curious as to what death is like, and I'll get to that. I'll get back to that later. But yeah. But we'll get to this final track. Track 14 out of 14. Tomorrow We'll Never Know. Holy fuck! This track's 11. Holy shit. Okay. Strap in, boys. Almost 12 minutes. Alright. Holy shit.
That you'll have no cup of water. Shoes made of copper flow. Legs frozen over. Back doesn't please you. The man don't believe you're looking at nothing. And God will just listen and give you a break. Or one in the same. Do they dream just like? Do they love just like? Anything at all. Made of water. Not wishing could lift this conundrum. As big as your shadow. No. We don't. If you could make you just
And that's where the lyrics end off. And we got another like 6 minutes. Stay strapped in, boys. It's just a very ambient sounding track. Man, I don't know if that call's going through, man. Yeah, I don't think that call's going through, man. What is this chanting chatter in the background? What's gonna happen now? Hello? And that's it. Do they dream like you do and then get into tambourine dream and like Jesus Christ? Okay, so yeah, I was completely silent for most of that because I mean halfway through the track it basically just turned into an instrumental. But wow, that was very that was very out there. I feel like that was very abstract even for Mac. I don't know, it just felt very out there, very ambient, of course, and like I don't know, that was just a very big example of being experimental with it. having a nearly 12-minute track is something I've never seen from Mac so far. That was a trip to go through. Kind of put you in a trance a bit, but I've undertook all 12 minutes of that, so yeah, that was one way to end it off. Genius, you got any final parting words? Tomorrow We'll Never Know is a hauntingly abstract and psychedelic song. Its foreboding tone is further driven by the recurring motif of a ringtone and automated voicemail playing in the background, from phone calls that are ultimately never answered. Yep. Keeping with the psychedelic theme, the title could be a reference to the song Tomorrow Never Knows by the Beatles. While the Beatles' title suggests boundless opportunity and potential, this title suggests unrealized potential when a life is cut short. Which now also could help the fact with, you know, the drugs and the experimentation connection between Mac and the Beatles. Because, you know, the Beatles you know, the Beatles made some very normal pop-ish music until they until they got a little bit of that little kush, got a little bit of whatever the fuck they were inhaling back in the day. Then their music got a little bit more out there. I don't know how the casual Macmiller is gonna take a 11-12 minute song where it's practically just ambient noise. But hey, I guess that's where the imagination comes in. But Tomorrow Never Knows, that one also has like a droning. I think that's the one with the droning whatever in the background. Wow, yeah. Nice little reference if that is the case. But man, that was balloonerism, and man, that was. Bro, that was very out there. I thought Faces was pretty experimental in its first listen, but balloonerism is way more abstract than I thought it was gonna be, especially in comparison to something like Faces and watching movies, because it is from that era. You're getting a lot of production choices that aren't really ordinary. They are, you know, you're gonna get like a fucking boom bap drum kick here and there. It can range from like abstract to psychedelic to fucking ambient noise. It's like, wow, maybe that might be the reason why Mac kind of shelved it for a bit. It was just getting too out there with it. The fact that it's out here now, it's like, wow, it really shows how deep Mac can go when it comes to this type of messing around with the product. And I think it paid off well, considering that I'm assuming it's not really a complete finished project, because who knows how much Mac was working on this before it got shelved and before he ultimately passed away. And it's like, for an album that was released years after his death, it still feels like a finished product. How accurate that sentiment would be to Mac himself, we'll never know. Because he's gone. Still, there wasn't like too much stuff where it's like, oh yeah, this does feel like unfinished or whatnot. There are some parts where it's just like Mac, you know, like going yeah, and like singing a little bit. I'm assuming that's where lines would have been, but overall, it was a pretty good listen and a very interesting listen, because I thought Faces was experimental and abstract. This is I want to say a level above that, because my goodness, I do sometimes like products where they are very out of the ordinary, or they feel a little like abstract. If you're looking at the cover art and you're expecting this album to be normal, you're kind of messing with your expectations a bit. But I do like when art gets taken to that route, because shit, that's possibly a place where you can get your most creative. The lyrical content feels very Faces era, feels very conscious, feels very philosophical, feels very self-aware, and still, when it comes to the lyrics, it's just so, again, saddening looking at some of these lyrics and knowing what has happened to Mac Miller, talking about his death, suicide, drug addiction. It's just really sad and very grim, because it's almost like prophecy in a way. It's just seeing those types of lyrics from Mac, and it's like, man, it's just such a shame. It's just such a shame he just died in that way so early. I've kind of mentioned something like this in my Linkin Park video where I listened to Hyper Theory, and Chester Bennington talked about all of his problems, and like knowing what I knew now, it's just so saddening. That's just as simple as I can put it. It's just really saddening and grim, and not really ironic, but like unfortunate. Still, the music, it's still pretty good. I don't want to say this is the like super most experimental thing I've ever heard, but it's pretty abstract. I'll give it that. It's pretty abstract, and there's a lot of leaps and turns that'll feel very familiar for Mac, but still not familiar enough. With that being said, thank you for watching another album reaction in the books. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, you know the drill. Watch my other album reaction videos if you want to. Watch my non-album reaction videos if you want to. Yeah, let me know if you guys want to see Circles or Good AM. And yeah, I guess I'll see what other albums come out this year, because, man, 2025 has had a good handful of good albums, and it's just adding on to the list every other week or so. Rest in peace to Mac, of course, and shout out to good music. I just need a way out. God, this song is so good. This song is so fucking good.
My regrets look just like texts I shouldn't send. I got neighbors, more like strangers we could be. Need a way out.
Of my head, a way out. Of my head,